my name is Mihai. I'll be telling you about Machinations.io. It's the game design tool because there's nothing like it in a market that's $120 billion a year. Gaming, think of it, it's bigger than Hollywood, the entire music industry, and the NFL combined. And the architects that do this have no dedicated tools, and we're going to change that. It all started in Copenhagen. I was working for the guys that did Subway Surfers, which has like 2 billion downloads. And then I worked for Game Analytics, which is basically the Google Analytics of games. We learned the ropes of making money with games and distributing, moved into consultancy, worked for some pretty big titles, AAA to indie. And all over, we noticed this pattern. In game development, when you start a game, it starts with this document. It's called the GDD, a game design doc. It's basically the equivalent of a business plan for startups. It's 50 pages, nobody reads it. Then you do a spreadsheet, and nobody simulates this. It's a bit of lies in there, broken math. You do diagrams, you do tasks, you go to meetings, and people walk out of meetings with different games in their minds. Think of that, how crazy is it? And the reason why this happens, well, it's 3 main reasons. 1, it's super hard to communicate on game complexity. Think of StarCraft. 2, it's super hard to visualize. And 3, the math in there is rarely simulated. It's basically gut feeling. Yeah. So we thought there must be a better way. We looked for a scientific solution ourselves. We came across a PhD product built by a brilliant mind in the Netherlands. His name is Joris Doormans, and he's a co-founder. He built Machinations a couple of years ago, and it came with a book. We looked into it, picked it up, and said, hey, we're going to use it in our work. This is me doing workshops. This is me showing Machinations on stage. And this is me getting the first tweet in 2015 or something when I realized, A, there is a tremendous wow factor, and B, there's a large underground community that knows about a tool, yet it has a lot of problems. Lack of documentation, improper platform, all of those determined us to start up. So we teamed up with Joris a couple of years ago. We incorporated in Luxembourg and got funded by an accelerator there. We came up with a closed beta last autumn. We took a round from Seed Camp this spring, and we are in open beta since about April. The tool looks like this, and since this is demo nights, I'm basically going to fake a demo. This is the interface. Machinations uses a UML that's 9 atomic symbols that you can express any sort of complex economy that you can think of. Blank. And I'm shuffling through about 10 minutes of design, where this is basically a gacha box, a box that drops stuff like in League of Legends. What it does is it simulates real-time the outcome of about 300 games. So what will a player experience after he wins and opens a box? Well, he's basically going to get at some point some crappy items, some common items, and then we're actually using the exact math that Riot Games uses. So we're simulating as we speak, but we can also simulate instantly on the server. So we add things to the chart, and then what Machinations does is it's able to simulate almost instantly 300 games and tell me the outcome. Now, if I'm not happy with the items that the player is going to get, what I do is I basically change them. This is not me. And this is in a nutshell balancing. You tweak the parameters until the experience of your players is right and you think it's right. So all of a sudden, I can see that this is not working. I can see that the player is going to get less common items and a lot more of the better items. This is really not working, is it? And one example that I just want to show you and wrap up the demo is the fact that you can, one application would be simulating my studio revenue. So Riot Games sells a box for about $1.7. What's the outcome going to be if this doesn't break? Okay. Right, there's some lag here. So what Machinations does now is it's going to do multiple runs. So we're simulating the outcome of hundreds of players doing hundreds of games. And what I will get is basically a heat map of my revenue. It's a mystery demo. Wow, tough crowd. But anyway, since we started, we've got about mystery users. There's about 6,000 users registered, and it's purely viral. We didn't spend a dime on marketing. About 10% of them are active on Slack. Flick. And there's lots of big numbers where that came from, but basically we're gearing up to do about 500,000 simulations by now. Some of these people, a lot of which you can find in our community, they're some of the best game designers and game economy designers in the world, people behind games like Candy Crush Saga and Fortnite and so on. And they come from studios which they're basically, Billboard top 100 games on the App Store and so on. But what I want to leave you with when it comes to the community is the fact that Machinations is actually being taught in universities. Since it was created within academia, teachers, researchers, and students all around the world use this in class. It's getting trending on Reddit and Twitter and YouTube. The point here is that the community starts assembling itself and communicating and helping each other. And we've asked them how long it takes to learn the language. It's basically a few hours to a few days. And then they get productive within a few, yeah. Thank you.
I'm going to please remove yours and put back mine somehow.
Sure.
I think it works a bit better. And please, jury members, start your 5 minutes of question and answers.
Mihai, it's great to see that you've been a long way since we talked about this 2 years ago, I think. You've done a lot of things. My question is, sounds like you're on an established market, sounds like everybody knows about it. So where are you heading and what are you looking for as a startup at this point?
Right. We're gearing up for monetization starting mid-November. We're looking to basically cross the chasm. I think the community that's right now around Machinations is a lot of enthusiasts and super hardcore game designers, but this needs to be brought to the masses so that any studio, wherever in the world, will be able to use the language and the tool proficiently.
Yes, what are you looking for now? I mean, are you looking for money now, for users, for gamers?
Sure, there's two things why we're here today. First of all, always be fundraising. And second, we're actually looking for talent. We're looking for a couple of top-notch developers, especially front-end developers, to join our team and execute on our roadmap.
Hi, great presentation. Who will you be selling to, the studios or the users?
Like I got to show you a bit of the faces in the community. Our entry within the studios is the professional. So we don't appeal to the studio manager. It's the game designer that we're trying to solve his pain the same way that, I don't know, Photoshop would try to be the perfect tool for a graphic designer.
Do you know what price you'll put on the tool?
Yes, we've run surveys for price elasticity and sensitivity. It's basically going to be $20 for individual, $50 for an indie studio.
All right, thanks.
Hi. We announced, or Fitbit announced this quarter that we invest in a couple of gamified experiences. So my question is, how does this solution improve game design? Is it shorten the output or testing all the mechanics of a game?
Yes. And
gives the creator an insight about, I don't know, if the game behaves well, or what's the, I'm not an expert on games, so I just want to understand how companies that want to create gamified experiences can leverage on your product.
Thanks. That's actually a great question, because some of the things you mentioned are just a couple of the benefits. It starts with visualization. So first of all, everybody in the team can look at a single diagram and get an understanding of everything that goes on in a game like StarCraft or Fortnite. Second, the fact that you can, something that nobody was able to do up until now is simulate the outcome of a small change in a system which will affect, kind of like the butterfly effect. How is that going to affect my community, my revenue, my everything? So yes, you can plot any gamified system, and you can tweak any single parameter and get the outcome of the final simulations and the heat map of that.
Mihai, I have the same question stuck in my mind as 2 years ago. Now more than then, because I saw it working. You're quite obviously obsessed with games. Question is, could this be used beyond games? Because
Yes.
I think there's a bunch of other fields that you could use kind of the same interface, same
Sure.
logic. So what could it be used for, and how could you maybe pivot it or spin it off?
There's users within our community that use it for AI. So they basically plot all the rule sets of complex mechanisms and simulate that. We've even got approached by a potential client that wants to use it in the defense industry. Unsure exactly for what, because it was a secret. It's used in avionics. Is that the right term? One of our users wanted to simulate what went wrong in a very unfortunate event that happened to Boeing recently. Energy, IT planning, logistics, anything that's complexity and math can be plotted and simulated.
One last question. So yeah, like I'm still buzzed. Like you say, one of the biggest benefits is like you can get the whole team, everybody works, and that's one benefit. But you still say that the buyer is one person. So why don't the studios, the big names, why wouldn't they buy the product? And they should pay thousands
Yes.
of dollars a month, not $20 a month.
Yes, there's definitely a AAA offering. One of the things we noticed when talking to clients and running the interviews is that they have very strict rule sets about data policy, privacy, access levels, all of those things. So custom deployment is definitely going to be a separate offerings for
So
large
this means
studios.
all these users will use your tool without the companies knowing that they are using it.
At the moment, I'm unaware if the company knows that their designers are using it, but
Okay.
we've had teams, we've had, they basically sign up their colleagues, so I guess it spreads. Plus, you see it on their monitors and everybody peeks.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Hope that answers the question.